Okay, good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and in the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. The panel members are myself, Bill Moretsky. I am chairing the meeting, and joining on Zoom are Brian Carlin and Valerie Werhun. Our secretary today is Zach Mohan, and our assessor for the properties on our docket today is Jennifer Nichols. To the Zoom participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted to the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparison of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of King's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. We will be hearing items 1, 3, 4, 5, 8 through 13 on the docket today. We have item number 1 on the docket first, but we are going to move that back because the applicant has not yet arrived. So we will begin with item 3. So for that applicant and assessor, Mr. Mohan, would you please swear in the parties?
Of course, Mr. Chair. Okay. Madam Assessor, please state your full name.
Jennifer Nichols?
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. I think you guys are up, so. Okay, I just remain standing for the oath. First, Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Dan Lanyon?
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may be seated. And Ms. Applicant, please state your full name.
Barb Lanyon?
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, we are starting on item 395 Hawkins. And this is an application for revision of the assessed value. Ms. Nichols, you can begin your presentation.
Okay, thank you. The roll number of the subject property is 080055799900, 95 Hawkins Crescent. The subject property is located in the area of Meadowood. It is a one-story home built in 1979, no effective year built, living area of 1,220 square feet. This property has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and what we had in our system as an attached garage. I was in discussions with the homeowners regarding potentially changing this to a detached garage. So I put it in as a detached garage just for simplicity, for the sake of comparison to the comparable properties. The assessed lot size for the subject property is 5,498 square feet. Land influence is just the hydro transformer box. So the current 2025 assessed value of the subject property is $417,000. Comparable number 1 is 66 Dells Crescent, also in Meadowood, same as the subject property. Also a one-story, built in 1978. Living area of 1,120 square feet, so a little bit smaller than the subject property. Comparable number 1 has a full basement, which is finished. Again, same as the subject property. Has air conditioning, has a multiple detached garage, lot size of 5,077 square feet. And the time adjusted sale price of 66 Dells was $416,200. Comparable number 2, 199 Greenwood Avenue. Comparable number 2 is located in the neighborhood of Vista, which is a neighboring area to the subject property. Similar area. One story, built in 1972. This property has a slight effective year built of 1977, which indicates some level of renovation has been done. Total living area of 1,296 square feet, full basement, which is finished, a single attached garage, lot size of 5,198 square feet. And the time adjusted sale price for comparable number 2 was $472,500. Comparable number 3, 218 Greenwood Avenue, located in the same neighborhood as the subject property, Meadowood. This is a one-story property built in 1976. Living area of 1,262 square feet, very close to the subject property, full basement, which is finished, and air conditioning, and again, a multiple detached garage. Lot size for comparable number 3 is 5,913 square feet. And the time adjusted sale price was $411,100. And finally, comparable number 4, 27 Whitley Drive, located in Meadowood, same as the subject property. This is a one-story built in 1978. This property has an effective year built of 1988. So again, indicating the level of renovation of this property. Living area of 1,184 square feet. Comparable number 4 has a full basement, which is finished, same as the subject, and a single detached garage. Assessed lot size is 4,998 square feet. And the time adjusted sale price for comparable number 4 was $430,300. So looking at the comparable properties that I was able to find in comparison to 95 Hawkins Crescent, the sale prices ranged from 411,100 up to 472,500. I do think that these properties are comparable to the subject property. And so the assessed value of 417,000 does seem reasonable to me, given the sale prices that were mentioned for the comparables. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Lanyon, do you have any questions for the assessor on her presentation?
So far, the only question, I guess, is that in the original assessment, we were compared with 55 Hawkins Crescent. And it was switched out for 27 Whitley Drive. So I'm not quite sure, I guess, where the 55 Hawkins Crescent went.
Was that the comparables that were listed on the My Properties website?
It was whatever, I guess, that we were looking at initially.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I don't remember how to, My Properties?
Yeah.
Okay, then it would have been My Properties.
Okay, yeah, so the comparable properties that are showing on My Properties when you log into the website there, those are just some examples of properties that might be comparable to yours, just kind of for you to take a look at. But when I'm looking at the property for the purposes of an appeal, I look for my own comparables just to find properties that are as comparable as possible to yours.
And then another question would be is why would Vista be included, like the, which was it, 199 Greenwood, because it's out of the area that our house is listed with the comparable sales.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah, so
when I was looking for our information, I stuck with literally our block because that's what we had initially been. All our comparisons were based out of that Meadowwood.
yeah. Yeah, so I mean, if possible, it's nice to be able to find comparables that are all as close as possible to your home, for sure. But sometimes I do go outside of kind of that smaller neighborhood area into adjacent areas just to be able to find homes that are similar in other ways, like year built or a living area, or maybe homes that have finished basements. So kind of taking it all into perspective, I felt that 199 Greenwood was still close enough to your home to be comparable, even though it was outside of that kind of immediate Meadowwood area.
Okay, just because looking at the general, I guess, sort of sales price is extremely different than the other comparables.
It's an anomaly.
And it's also in a different neighborhood area, so that could explain the significant price variation. I know there's one that was very similar to our area that sold for a similar price, but on the listing, because I was just shocked it had sold for that much. At the time of the sale, I went back to check the realtor's website and they had put in at least 150,000 worth of improvements to that house, which gave it that significant boost in value.
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Like there was this one, it seems significantly higher in price. And there was one in our area, in the Meadowwood area, that kind of would match up. And I had taken note of it when it sold, because it had sold for such a high amount. And on the sales listing, like with the realtor, they had made a note that they had done 150, I don't remember the exact amounts because the listing is now gone. That they had done that volume of improvements to the home to gain that significant increase over the neighboring prices.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
Yeah, I'm not sure, without being able to see the listing that you're referring to, I can't speak to that. Yeah, particular listing.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I know for 199 Greenwood, I did make note of the property, like of what kind of renovations had been done. So I just made note that there was a partial kitchen renovation done, laminate countertops, still old appliances and original floors, as well as a partial bathroom renovation, so not like a complete, this home is not one of those homes that has been completely renovated.
We'll continue. Basically, we have some other comments that we'll leave for later.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Verhun, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do. Is there any consideration given to the fact that the subject property has a hydro transformer box on it?
I don't believe that that's something that impacts the assessed value, if that was what you're wondering.
Yeah, and
Okay.
also the fact that it has a single detached garage opposed to your comparable on number 1. What would the difference between a single detached and a multiple detached?
Yeah, I'm not sure of what the exact difference in value would be. Yeah, sorry, I can't give you a dollar value for that.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions right now.
Okay, Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Nichols, this house was built in 1979, correct?
Yep, that's right.
It has effective year built of 1979.
Right.
So does that then imply that there would have been no renovations in this house since that time?
No renovations that would be substantial enough to warrant an effective year built. Yeah, doesn't mean that absolutely nothing has been done. But probably the homeowners are better able to answer what specifically has been done to the home.
So this basement is a full basement, correct?
Right? Yeah.
And it is fully finished?
I don't know if I have the exact square footage. I can check my notes.
Are the comparables also fully finished?
Yeah, I don't have information on the exact square footage that's finished for each of the comparables. It's just really like a yes or no. Is it finished? Yes or no? I can check for the subject property though. Okay, so yeah, we have the basement at 70% finished, which we do consider fully finished.
70% finished. Just back to the effective year again. So 27 Whitley jumped that one up 10 years. What would have been the reason for that?
So I had made a note regarding that property. The kitchen, bathroom, and flooring had been renovated in that property.
So does the subjects compare to that one in terms of level of renovation? Or grade?
No, I think that one would be a superior level of renovation to the subject property. As far as I know, the subject property is in just about original condition. We had been trying to arrange an inspection of the property, but just weren't quite able to touch base ahead of the hearing in order to do that. So
199 Graywood, is slightly out of the immediate area,
Mhm.
correct?
That is right.
So is it in a nicer area or is it comparative area?
In my opinion, it's comparable. You can see comparable number 3 is 218 Greenwood, which wouldn't be that far down from 199 Greenwood, and is considered to be in Meadowood, so it's pretty close to the area.
66 Dells is the most, not the most expensive one, but on a square foot basis is,
Right.
is that, what would be the reason for that?
Well, it is the lowest in terms of square footage, so usually lower square footage would have a higher price per square foot.
Footage? It's the same as, a little bit lower than the subject property.
100 square feet lower, yeah.
Okay, I have no further questions. So, Mr. and Mrs. Lanyon, you can begin your presentation.
I guess in a way we'd like to add back the 55 Hawkins that we were originally compared to. And I don't have all the statistics laid out. Unless you can hold it up. And then we had also submitted 3 Brampton, which is very similar in terms of the square footage and the detached garage. I believe it does have some, it's closer to commercial and multifamily homes though as the caveats for it. The 3 Brampton had a sales price of 380,000 with a sale adjusted of 388,700. And a 111 Brantford, it did not have a garage. It had I believe, a larger lot and a sales price of 362,500 and adjusted price of 340. I guess the way I looked at it was more the style of the house. Not just the square footage and some of the comparables, but I went onto Google and kind of looked at the fronts of the homes. To see if that made a difference in terms of sales price, to sort of get a more similar layout and make them even more comparable. And the 3 that I found that were the most similar to ours would be 66 Dells, 55 Hawkins, and 3 Brampton. The 199 Greenwood, that was a significantly different style. I had originally thought 31 Whitley, which I had submitted, was a similar style, but upon viewing it further, it looks a little different. So I don't know that we want to keep that in our comparison or not. Similar to 27 Whitley, it was a slightly different layout and design, which seems to maybe change the sales price. I'm not entirely sure. Is there a place for like just general questions on finding information? Just because the information that we were provided here, there's more of it than what's available online to us. Like if I just have a question on how things are, I guess procedures on how things are done, is there appropriate time for that?
Well, at this particular meeting, Well, that would have to have been done before.
Right, I mean, we're not looking to add that,
Yeah,
but
but like-
it just felt that, you know, like. We were provided whatever information we could find, you know, Googling addresses that had sold, or by going through the My Properties. Information that was provided by the city, but then when we received the information from the assessor. For this meeting, there's a lot more information here than what we were able to access. So it makes it a little more difficult for us to have prepared, I guess, because we didn't have some of the details that are here. And I was just wondering, for future information, is that something?
Well, that is
we
a
can
question
access?
you could have asked the assessor, and I will allow you to ask that question now if you want to.
Sure.
Okay.
Jennifer, can you tell me, is there a way that we can access more of this information? I know that we were having difficulties getting in touch with each other.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you already have been on the website looking at the sales information. Is that where
Yes.
you found the sales? Okay. Yeah, so besides for the sales information there, we also have a website where you can search for, you can search addresses, and it will bring up some of this basic information that you see on the comparable sales report that I provided. So it will show garages, finished basement, I believe it shows fireplaces. It has like some of that kind of basic information there. So that's on our website. And then other than that, I guess I would maybe, the only other thing I could think of would maybe be contacting a realtor and asking about any specific sales that you were wondering, and maybe they would have some information they could share with you that way as well.
Is there any way to find out who the comparables were? For other properties, just for determining their value. Like initially, our concern was the previous time around, our property went up by 56,000 or an 18% increase to a valuation of 361,000. It's again jumped by the exact same amount, but this time a percent change of 16%. So we're facing an over $100,000 jump in property value. We understood the last time it was to bring us up to comparables, which we didn't fight with or argue with. But just looking at percent increases in property value overall, ours is higher than the 9 to 12% general increase in property values in our area. Is there a way to find who some of the other people were compared to?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we do something called mass appraisal. So we don't do there's no one person is going to each house and choosing comparables to compare for each house to come up with a valuation. So it's a computer assisted mass appraisal. So basically all of the sales data gets put into a computer system, and the computer system analyzes the data, and then based on the characteristics of each home, it generates a value based on the sales data. So yeah, it's not like it's not like I can point to like 4 properties, like these are the ones that your home was compared to in order to come up with a value.
Right.
It's more of a general process than that. Yeah.
Okay.
But
So to us, it's a little concerning just because it's such a high increase over both reassessments, and especially this last one in comparison to the averages.
right. Yeah, I know a big jump can definitely be a surprise for a homeowner. I think if sometimes we do see that happen sometimes when the value was reduced for the last reassessment, the computer system doesn't take that into account. So it's just looking at all new data. It's really dependent on what the sales are like for that particular reassessment. So yeah, that's just what's reflecting in the 417,000 for your property for this time, is that the sales are just reflecting that a home with your characteristics is going to be going or would have sold on April 1st, 2023 for that amount.
It just doesn't, I guess it doesn't line up with everything else. Like even some of our comparables, they're more in the 11% increase. Whereas other properties that while they weren't sold, they got a 9% increase. So it's not very consistent in the modeling.
I can't really speak to what's happening
Okay.
with other assessments. Yeah, just looking at just your one property.
Okay. I guess the other things we'd like to add is that our street has been reassessed and it is a busier street than some of the comparables. So they end in a park, or there's not really the traffic volume that our street has been experiencing. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I put in a request for speed calming and they came out and did a survey of the street, and the traffic was warranting something to slow the vehicles down just because of the traffic of people coming off of Nova Vista to bypass the lights at Nova Vista and Dakota. And they would come down our street and then enter onto Dakota South, or sorry, North. Or they would come down Dakota and head up to Nova Vista to avoid the lights. And so we put the request in and they told us that they agree with it. The traffic volumes do require that, but they have no idea when that would happen. The only other thing I was thinking, I don't know, for views, overall views of, from your house. Basically, I'm looking at my neighbor's back doors. I don't know if that's, something that is taken into account, but I mean, garbage cans, recycling cans all the time, et cetera. I don't know if that plays a part in valuation. Just a thought.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Nichols, do you have any question for the applicants?
I had a couple of questions. I think maybe we've already kind of covered the questions I had regarding the comparables. I was just going to ask if you had information regarding the square footage of each of the comparables, or whether they had finished basements. But I guess I already have the answer to those questions. So the only other questions that I wanted, or the only question I wanted to go over, was just renovations to your home. Just wondering what kinds of things have been done.
I guess that's where we'd like clarification on what is maintenance and what is considered renovations. Because in the paperwork, it says it won't, the condition of your home isn't necessarily taken into account in terms of your windows, your, things like that, because it's the carpet, flooring, all that, because it's classified as maintenance. Versus, I guess, something structural, which would affect the value. So what things would be considered, I guess, general maintenance versus renovation?
So general maintenance would be things like replacing the shingles of the roof, or repairing damage to the siding on the outside of the home, that kind of thing. Renovations would be, I mean, first of all, if you've done, say a lot, like if you've replaced the roof, you've replaced all the windows, you've updated the electrical, like any one of those things might be maintenance if it was just a little bit done, here and there. But if you've done kind of all of that, then it starts to be a lot more that's been done to the home, right? Also replacing flooring or refinishing hardwood, updating the kitchen, countertops and cabinets, updating in the bathroom, new vanity, new showers or tubs, new toilets, new flooring, like that kind of thing, would all increase the market value of the home, right? Anything that would make your home more desirable, or would get a higher price for your home if you were to sell it. Does that make sense?
It sounds kind of conflicting, because we're not allowed to put things in, I guess, that need maintaining, but yet things that we maintain simply because we have to. It's almost like a conflict in status. You can't claim this, but you have to, like, you need to claim it when it's been done. Like in this category, it's maintenance and needs to be done, but in this category, it's renovation. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? Like some of the same things, like you were mentioning flooring is maintenance, but then you said flooring was renovation.
I don't believe I said flooring was maintenance. If I did, it was just a accidental. Flooring, usually if the flooring is replaced, that would be considered a renovation, something that's updating the home and making it more desirable.
Over time, we've had to maintain things simply because things were original and after,
40 years, 40 plus.
I guess 40 years, you do have to replace things. Our home is wood siding, so it needed to be repainted. Okay, here, in the paper, we received issues such as shingles, roof repairs, window replacement, repainting, carpeting, flooring. Finish of your property will not lower your assessment as it's considered normal wear and tear or aging of the property. So it just seems that like it's not taken into account on that side of things, but yet those kind of things need to be taken into account, like maintenance versus renovation. I would say the most recent thing we've done is we did have to put new cabinets in our kitchen. I
They were falling
think
apart.
it was in 2021 because they were literally falling apart. They've gone from being full wood cabinets to the, what is it, the particle board, but it is new. So it would have a newer look. The cabinet or the countertop level is still the same. We had to replace it. Stuff was coming off of it. So, but it's still the same, not the formica, but that overlay, the laminate. That would have been, I think, fall 2021. The floorings had to have been replaced over time because carpet after 40 years wears out. Same with the main floor because it was carpet. We've done what?
We had to do the shingles because they were falling apart. 25 years is basically the max on those.
And we've replaced 2 bathroom vanities and done a bath fit or bathtub in the last 10 years. And we replaced 1 toilet because it wasn't functioning well, but everything we've done has generally been maintenance because things were falling apart. And on a tight budget. We did not spend 30,000 on our kitchen. I think it was 10 or less.
And it's all sweat equity as well, except for the bath fitter because we couldn't do that.
Okay, so
It's not necessarily all like the high end brand new. It might look newer. But it's not, you know, custom this or, you know, whatever. We've done it as economically as we can.
right. Okay, I think I understand. So things have been replaced over the years as needed, with kind of basic level of finishing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like we haven't upgraded anything. That, you know, you find a vanity on sale, you buy it, you put it in, you know, it's a couple $100. It's not, you know, the $1,000 marble top. You know, it's, oh, look, Costco's blowing it out kind of thing. If that kind of helps with that. So yes, things have been updated. I mean, the only thing not touched really is the basement. If that helps answer your questions.
definitely. Thank you so much. That was all
Mr.
the questions that I had. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sorry. Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the applicants?
Just around the traffic issue on the street, has that substantially increased in the last few years?
It's been pretty steady for the last few years. We do have a park at the corner. And the main concern is that along our street, we have a lot more kids. We have 5 our own. And we just noticed that the vehicles coming down the street were just, they don't even slow down, it seems, for the corner. It's like a challenge. So I went and I canvassed the neighborhood, handing out letters, asking people to let the city know whether or not they wanted to have, traffic calming installed. And the block voted, I wouldn't say unanimously, I don't know the number, but it was enough for having the city traffic division to come out and putting down the timing things, whatever it is. And they got back to me and they agreed that it was, I think I included my email, I just don't have it with me at the moment, in our submission.
Yeah, I did read it. Thank you.
Yeah, so basically, they did agree that it is a higher traffic area. And they did agree that it, would apply, or sorry, not would apply, would receive traffic calming at some point, but it would all be in the budget. And so I figured that that's a bit of a concern for some people, not only if they have children wanting to move into the neighborhood, but also just general, because we have trucks and cars and everything coming down our street, loud motorcycles, a lot of guys. I mean, I have no muscle car myself, I understand, but like you're going through a residential neighborhood, you don't, step on the gas and shake the windows. It's just not right, but here we are, we have that.
Okay, thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Ms. Verhun, do you have any questions for the applicants?
Yes, and I'm sorry if I missed it in their information, but what are you looking for as a fair assessment on your property?
Well, I guess, about a 9 to 11% increase, which would put us in about the high 390s, 400,000, somewhere in there.
So you said the 300 to the, I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last number.
To the low 400, like the 390s, low 400s, depending on, I guess where the comparables.
If the city has assessed you at 417, so your low 400 would be what?
Were 11%.
Around 403.
Okay, thank you. No more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So you have a lot of comparables here. There's no square footage numbers, unfortunately, on there. So is there any kind of science that you use here using these comparables that you research to come up with that number of $403,000 from the comparables that you have?
Like the,
Or like just putting aside your other formula that you use there, just using these comparables, you should be able to come up with a number there, or kind of the same process that the city uses, right, with comparables.
well,
If you haven't done it, don't worry.
we haven't done anything quite that detailed. Just because we weren't sure what to expect and all have in hand.
So there's traffic issues that the other places don't have. Correct?
Yeah, well, what it is that we're a crescent that runs from Dakota to Nova Vista. And in the southwest corner of that pie shape, I guess you'd say, there is an intersection of Dakota and Nova Vista, which has lights.
Mhm.
And we find in particular that people will come down and cut down cut down Hawkins to make their way to Dakota rather than going through the lights. And so we get a lot more traffic because people are just not wanting to stop and wait for the lights. And I find that the lights for Dakota at that particular corner are definitely elongated compared to the people that are traveling down Vista. So I can understand why somebody would want to bypass that, especially, you know, when you're coming home from work or when you're going to work, I guess. Those are probably the two times we see the biggest increase.
How long have you owned the house?
Um, so, like this.
But, is that a consideration, when you bought that house?
No,
That you're gonna,
we were,
okay,
we were
we're
in
gonna
a
get this
condo.
house for cheaper but it's just got a busy street, right?
no, we were in a condo. We had two children with a third on the way. We weren't gonna be able to keep everybody in there. And we were looking mainly in Waverly and we could not find anything. And we happened to come across this home, which was being sold via what is it called?
Like the private seller thing, not the.
And we had talked to them. And it was an older couple had passed away and the children were selling it. And so they said, you know, we love your kids, they're cute. Give us a good offer, and our offer wasn't quite good enough, but they said, you know, if you bring it up a little bit, we'll take your offer over the others. And so we took what we could.
I have no further questions. Madam Assessor, is there any summation that you want to make?
Just that in considering the work that has been done to the property, in comparison to the comparables, I do think that the 417,000 is definitely within reason.
And Mr. and Mrs. Lanyon, do you have anything in summation that you want to say about your presentation?
Well, I wish we could have gotten in contact with Jennifer a little bit more before this. Maybe we could work something else out, but I do appreciate your efforts. I don't know. I work for the city and I understand what it's like. And that's, you know, that comes to the point where I also look at, as she mentioned, it's a general assessment. It's not done individually. And in some respects, I find that makes it a little bit more difficult for people. And there's a lot of people that don't have the time to make this effort to try and understand and to better work out a valuation. And so, I mean, for that, I do appreciate this opportunity. We just feel that the value of our home has not been assessed correctly, in the sense that it just 110,000 over two assessments just seems to be excessive. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we've basically maintained an old house. There was an older couple that did not do anything. I mean, literally, the carpet was falling apart. You know, the last person, she was in a wheelchair, so all the walls were damaged by her going around corners and things like that, right? I mean, it's you got to put paint on that. I think it's just regular maintenance, and it just feels like the assessed value is not there. But of course, all I can do is give you the evidence that I have and ask that you see it through my eyes, my wife's eyes, and all we can do is ask for, you know, a good judging. You know, you guys do this every day, and I appreciate you guys for that, because you know, you guys make make sure that everything is fair. And of course, I have no choice but to agree to whatever terms you have, unless I wanted to appeal again. But I just ask that you guys consider this, and, you know, Jennifer, thank you for doing your job as well, I appreciate you. That's about it.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, and this will then include this matter of 95 Hawkins. Ready to go. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you all for your time.
Take care.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question? Sorry. I be the next or not?
I think so. We did good. We got one here
I'm
where
five.
there is no applicant again, right?
No applicant for the
Yeah.
form, Mr. Chair. So I can make the decision.
Sorry.
Yes, so item number 4, the applicant is not yet arrived, so we are going to push item 4 to the back as well. And so the next item will be item number 5, 96 Yorkwood. We will proceed with that, so Mr. Mohan, if you can swear in Mr. Giraboy.
Of course, you can take a seat right there. Or first, he's just standing, yeah. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name. Please state your full name.
Oleksiy Giriboy.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you. You may be seated.
We're going to proceed with item 5, 96 Yorkwood, which is an application on revision of assessed value. Ms. Nichols, if you can proceed with your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you. So the roll number for the subject property is 060930427700, 96 Yorkwood Drive. This property is located in Royalwood. It is a 2-story home built in 2005. Living area of 2,511 square feet. It has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage. Assessed lot size is 5,905 square feet, and it does have the hydro transformer box land influence. The current 2025 assessment value for the subject property is $735,000. And there was a subject sale registered in August 2021 for $701,000 with a time adjusted sale price of $735,000. So comparable number 1 is 104 Yorkwood Drive. So just down the street from the subject property in the same neighborhood, also a 2-story, also built in 2005, 2,486 square feet of living area. So smaller than the subject property, full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, lot area of 5,904 square feet, very similar to the subject property. Comparable number 1 sold in July 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $767,100. Comparable number 2 is 108 Yorkwood Drive. Again, just down the street from the subject property, so in Royalwood in the same area. Comparable 2 is a 2-story built in 2005, same as the subject property, living area of 2,545 square feet. So similar in size to the subject, just slightly larger, full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage. Lot size for comparable number 2 is 6,377 square feet. And comparable 2 sold in April 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $710,900. Comparable number 3, 82 Westwater Drive. Again, in the same area as the subject property. 2-story building, or 2-story home built in 2004, living area of 2,557 square feet. Comparable number 3 also has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. Comparable number 3 also has a 3-season sunroom. The assessed lot size is 5,900 square feet, and comparable 3 sold in June of 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $699,600. Comparable number 4, 112 Bridgetown Drive, also in Royalwood. Again, a 2-story, built in 2007, living area of 2,598 square feet. This comparable has a full basement, which is finished, same as the subject property, air conditioning, a multiple attached garage, lot size of 7,193 square feet, so a larger lot than the subject property, and does have that hydro transformer box influence, same as the subject property does. And comparable number 4 sold in August of 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $786,000. So in terms of comparing the condition of the properties, I did make some notes. As of the date of sale of the subject property, the kitchen cabinetry had been updated, but the rest looked pretty original. I did make a note that this home was a former show home. Comparables 1, 3, and 4 were all in original condition. Comparables 1 and 3 were also former show homes, and comparable 2 was mostly original, but did appear to have some updated flooring. So considering the range in the time adjusted sale prices, so from a low of $699,600 up to $786,000, I do think that the $735,000 for the subject property is reasonable and is also in line with its own sale price and time adjusted sale price. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Jiggervoy, do you have any questions for the assessor on our presentation?
Yeah, so everything more or less clear. And I want to ask only one question. Do you prepare this information only based on the facts from the computer, or maybe you try to see any photos of the properties from the open sources? For example, if you type the address in the Google Maps, you will see the picture from the front of every property. So do you try to look on it or not?
Yeah, so I did look at each of these properties on MLS, where the listing was for the sale, and I would look through the photos of each of the sales, as well as for your property, which had been listed there as well.
Just I want to also take small notes that, for example, from the Google, from the picture, also from the offers I recently arrived in Canada from Ukraine. My family arrived from Ukraine, and maybe my English not perfect. Sorry for that.
No, it's okay, you're doing fine.
Yeah. So, for example, if you look in the picture on the Google, so you could clearly see that my house have curling shingles, the garage door needs a repairment, and some other stuff also visible from that. I'm not sure you see it from the pictures you have.
I'm not sure that I specifically made note of those issues. I did make a note, though, that the home was mostly original, other than the updated kitchen cabinetry. So that there would be some expected wear and tear with a home that was in mostly original condition.
I did not understand what you're telling about kitchen and cabinets. Sorry for that. Can you tell a little bit slowly? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, sorry. I had just made a note that the kitchen cabinets looked like they had been replaced.
Yeah, in the kitchen, nothing was replaced. Everything is old. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
every appliance is from the time the house was built, so it's old.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
So no other question for this.
Ms. Werhan, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do not at this time, thank you.
And Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Just one question. When you look at the comparables, comparable 2, I just noticed that there's this kind of a decrease in time adjusted sale value from its 2022 sale, whereas the other ones seem to go up. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, my audio's on. Yeah, we did. There is it depends on the area, but there is a certain period of time where sales did start to go down. And so that's the time adjustment there is just reflecting that that sale occurred at a time when I guess sales were high, and then the market kind of came down towards April 1st, 2023 from that kind of high point.
Okay, yeah, so it looks like from most of the sales were 2021. So they probably increased up to 2022 and then slid a bit for 23, right?
There were some areas that where the decrease started in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So on your time adjusted sale prices, you have the subject at 292.71. The highest one is 308. So this one ranks second and right behind it. Why did you choose to go at the higher end of the time adjusted prices per square foot? Because most of these are the same size here, pretty much, correct?
Yeah, so comparables 1 and 4 are both higher per square foot than the subject property, at 308.57 and then 302.54. And comparables 2 and 3 are below per square foot, where the subject property is. But I think that, you know, all of the comparables are in original condition, except for comparable number 2, which had some updated flooring. And the subject property was also a former show home. So, you know, that generally, you know, you're going to have had nicer quality materials put in because it was a show home. So I do think that the 292, I mean, it's not above in terms of the dollar value per square foot, but I do think it's appropriate putting it on the higher end of the comparable sales.
And why is that again?
Because the property was a former show home, and all of the comparables are in original condition. So these are not comparables that have been, you know, completely updated or renovated. These are all in very comparable condition to the subject property.
What kind of differences would be for a show home as opposed to just a normal one that was built?
Yeah, I can't give an exact dollar value for that, but
Well, not dollar, but just in general, what kind of things, you know, just a few examples.
like of differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like generally you're going to be looking at nicer quality material. So maybe instead of laminate countertops, you're going to have quartz or granite in the kitchen instead of particle board, you know, cabinets. You'll have maple cabinets, you know, just that kind of thing. Nicer quality carpets. Usually the materials are higher quality because the builder's a chance for them to show what they can do. So that is what we often see in the show homes.
No further questions from me, so we can then proceed with Mr. Girovoy's presentation.
First of all, as the assessor told, it was a time in 2021 when the property in Winnipeg become more and more expensive, and I also made some offers for some houses that only on the 96 could buy. I could buy, and every time when I try to buy the house, I must increase the offer, the price in my offer, 10-15% higher the price the seller wants. And when we go with realtor to look my house, my current house, she before even visiting the house to look to see, she told me that the price for this house is overestimated. I mean that the sellers wants much more than the house really costs, and the sellers wanted 699,000. I bought the house for 701,000. So it was the first offer and nobody want to beat it. So nobody want to compete. I mean that, so I mean that nobody wants to buy it, this house, because really in every detail, I don't know why the previous owners was not so accurate, I would say. So every detail have some problems. The shingles is curling, the garage door needs repairment, the deck was really old, twisted decks, boards, not painted. And this is only some notes from outside that could be easily visible. Inside, there also was very old, okay, not like for the previous guys, but it's like nothing was changed since the house was constructed. And unfortunately for me, on the second part in 2021, it was, as I told you, we are citizens of Ukraine. It was the information that most probably the war in Ukraine would start it. And I decided to buy this house with the price that really was higher than the market price, because I need the place to live in case of bad things happen. Unfortunately, the war started and it was bad for us. So, but this has not affected the price of the house. And I'm lucky that I bought it because I can live somewhere. So we planned initially to make many changes, many updates, but nothing was done because our assets is blocked now in Ukraine and could not be moved in Canada because of the ban from the National Bank of Ukraine to transfer any money from Ukraine to Canada. So I try to be, when I send the information before this meeting, I try to be as, how to say, so I found the information in ChatGPT. I'm sure everybody knows that this is the tool of artificial intellect, and it compare not only the facts, but also it is finding the pictures from the open sources and compare the real, how to say, condition of the house. I know it is very well because I have a professional IT education and my friends working in the Google, Open AE, Microsoft, so on. And the ChatGPT, so artificial intelligence, make the estimation like 705,000 Canadian dollar, like effective price, but the price estimated value for effective date on the 1st of April 2023. And also looking on the fact that the assessor told that in the end of 2021 and 2022, the price for the properties go down in Winnipeg and afterwards a little bit recover. So the answer from ChatGPT looks reasonable. And I can't influence on this answer from the artificial intelligence, but I want to ask the board to accept this estimation from the artificial intelligence. Initially, most probably, this is all that they want to tell.
Okay. Ms. Nichols, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I do. So I guess I'm just wondering, I've never come across a market value estimate from ChatGPT before, so that was kind of interesting to see. Do you know anything about what kind of sales or influences were taken into account? Like, was it just, it sounds from the description that you provided that it was just a general kind of market trend from Winnipeg as a whole, as opposed to being broken down, by area or by house type, like 2-story or 1-story home. Do you know what kinds of sales were taken into account in that evaluation?
In your evaluation, yes, I see everything on the comparable sales report you sent, but I'm not familiar with procedures too much because I'm recently arrived in Canada, so maybe I do not know something.
Okay. So you're not sure then what ChatGPT was looking at in terms of like which sales they were looking at?
Oh, I know this is a secret for me because I'm not how to say I'm not the company who operate ChatGPT. So I only know that a lot of people in the world, and every year more and more people in the world trust ChatGPT more and more.
Okay. Okay, that was all the questions that I had. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Hunt, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, I just have one. Your second last paragraph, you stated here the estimated value of the property at 96 Yorkwood Drive would have been in the range of 650 to 675. Is that what you are looking for as an assessment, sir?
No, I'm looking like 705,000 like estimated value.
Okay, 705. Okay, thank you. And the assessor asked the question that I was going to ask, so I'm good now. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Yeah, pretty straightforward presentation, so.
I have no questions either. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I missed you. I knew that was gonna happen. Yes, I have no questions as well. Anything in summation, Ms. Nichols?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Do you have anything in summation, Mr. Giroux?
I just want to tell that two cases shown in the comparable sales report have much bigger footage that maybe I would say could not be included in comparison because it's completely different property. Because one property has the area on more than 20-30% more than mine. So, and as the chair told before, I only now recognize that the price recommended for my house is almost the highest one among the property included to the comparable sales report. And to tell the truth, if someone offer me today 735,000 for my house, I will sell it immediately in the condition it is, really, because I asked previously how much the changing the shingles cost. The average price is between 12 and 15,000, depending on the shingles quality. So the changing of the deck, depending on the new one, which it will be, 10,000. The garage door, 1,000. It's not a new one. It's some kind of make it well working, and everything needs money. So I would really sell it for 735,000 if somebody offer it to me today, even today, not in April 2023. So looking on that fact, also please take into consideration that it's overestimated. And thank you for your fair decision.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Giroux. So that then concludes this item. And you are free to.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Guess I should ask, does anybody need a short break, perhaps? Nobody's speaking, so I'm gonna keep going.
Good to go another one or two.
Next one is item 8. Do we have an applicant for that one?
We do actually. He joined late, but I can have been right now. We can make sure that he's present. Hello, Brian. Can you hear and see us okay? Can you hear and see us okay?
Yeah, I've unmuted myself and my video's working and I can see everyone.
Perfect. Oh, sorry,
well,
your
there's-
last name is Ryle, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, then the next item we're going to do is 52 Wildfire. And that is application for revision of assessed value. And Mr. Mohan, can you swear in the applicant, Mr. Ryall, please?
Of course, Mr. Chair. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Brian Charles Ryle.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Nichols, you may proceed with your presentation on this item.
Okay, thank you. The subject roll number is 0600508450, 52 Wildfire Drive. This property is located in Royalwood. It is a cab over, built in 2001, living area of 1,833 square feet. The property has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, a multiple attached garage, and the lot size is 4,961 square feet. Land influences for the subject property is hydro transformer box. And the current 2025 assessment value for the subject property is $562,000. Comparable number 1 is 100 Southside Drive, also in Royalwood, also a cab over, built in 2005, living area of 1,796 square feet. So this property is smaller than the subject property. The comparable number 1 has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, lot size of 5,196 square feet, slightly larger than the subject property. Comparable 1 also has the hydro transformer box influence as well as light traffic. 100 Southside sold in September of 2021 for $581,200. Comparable number 2 is 87 Bridgeway Crescent, again in Royalwood, a cab over, built in 2022, living area of 1,787 square feet, so again smaller than the subject property. Comparable 2 has a full basement, which is finished, same as the subject property, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, and a lot size of 6,493 square feet, so a larger lot than the subject property. Comparable number 2 sold in January 2021 for time adjusted sale price of $586,600. Comparable number 3, 947 John Bruce Road East, also in Royalwood. Cab over, built in 2003, living area of 1,645 square feet, so a fair bit smaller than the subject property. Comparable number 3 has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, and a lot size of 4,958 square feet. Comparable number 3 sold in September 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $566,700. And finally, comparable number 4, 955 John Bruce Road East, again in Royalwood, cab over, built in 2003, living area of 1,668 square feet. This property has a full basement, which is finished, same as the subject property. Has air conditioning, a multiple attached garage, and a lot size of 4,958 square feet with that same hydro transformer box land influence. Comparable number 4 sold in March of 2021 for a time adjusted sale price of $517,500. So looking at the comparables that I found and looking at their time adjusted sale prices, there's a range from a low of $517,500 up to $586,600. Comparables 3 and 4 are a fair amount smaller than the subject property. And so definitely something that's reflected in those time adjusted sale prices for comparables 3 and 4. Comparables 1 and 2 are also smaller than the subject property, but a lot closer in size. And so again, I think that is reflected in the time adjusted sale prices. So I do think that the 2025 assessed value of $562,000 is well supported. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Mr. Ryall, do you have any questions on the assessor's presentation?
Yeah, I have a couple. I believe in an earlier property assessment interview, she said, or with one of the earlier applicants today, she said something relating that a larger square footage usually ends up with being less dollars per square foot. Did I hear that right?
Sometimes we see that. Yeah.
So just sometimes, or is that a general rule?
It's something that we will. Personally, I feel like the time adjusted sale price, not sale price per square foot, is a better indication of the value of the property. But when we are looking at the time adjusted sale price per square foot, we do often see that it has a lower, that a property with a larger square footage will have a lower price per square foot, just because it's, it is larger. So it's like I guess an economies of scale kind of thing.
Okay, so can you help me understand the significant variance between the time adjusted sale price per square foot in comparables number 3 and 4? They're very similar in size, and yet the time adjusted sale price is almost $50,000 difference, and the time adjusted sale price per square foot is over $30 per square foot difference.
Right. Yeah. So there are other factors, of course, that go into the sale price and the time adjusted sale price and price per square foot, other than just the size of the home. So in that case, comparable 3 has had some renovations. So I made some notes that comparable number 3 had a renovated kitchen, bath, and possibly some flooring.
Okay.
Whereas comparable number 4 had a renovated kitchen, but the rest was pretty original looking.
Okay. I think, the other question is somewhat related to that. How does lot size factor into value per square foot?
So I think it depends on the area. If a property, like, because we're looking at sales that are all in the same area, if the property had a much smaller lot size than any of the other comparables, it could be a factor in the value. In this case, I think all of the comparables are within range. They're not identical. Definitely your property has a smaller lot size than comparables 1 and 2,
yeah.
But I think overall they are still good comparables. And I would put kind of more emphasis on the differences in the living area versus the lot size. That would be a more important.
Yeah, and so the subject property and comparables 1 and 2 are more or less the same size when it comes to living area. I mean, I calculated, and I think the difference is 2% or less. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, thank you very much.
Ms. Verhun, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do not, thank you.
And I do not have any questions. Mr. Ryall, you may proceed with your presentation.
Okay, is it necessary for me to read verbatim the submission I made or just to summarize it?
Okay, just give me a moment here, please.
I mean, I'm quite prepared to read it. I just don't want to take up the board's time if it's not necessary.
You have two submissions here, I see.
Yeah, one's a spreadsheet and the other one's the commentary.
I think we have all, if yeah, I don't want to speak out of for the others, but you know, have we all read it already? Panel members? So I think it's probably just necessary to summarize it.
Okay, that's what I'll do. So the basis of my appeal is that there are significant variances in the dollar value per square foot, even on a time adjusted basis. And while it initially in my submission, I said there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. I understand that maybe some of it's related to, or that there's a general trend that the larger the square foot, the lower the price per square foot, but that isn't borne out in all of the examples here. You'll notice that in my submission, I have 7 different properties listed, of which the first 2 are actually, or sorry, the last one and the second one are actually used in the assessor's report. I just think that there is, I find it curious, and again, this is normal, I guess, that the assessor will use comparables to justify what the city's assessment is, and I take no, that's not a slight. I think that's just an observation. But when I did my review, I found that the average of all the 7 properties that I used, including 2 that was used by the assessment department, came up at under $300 per square foot. And that's what I'm basing my my request for an appeal on, is that I think my assessment should be closer to $547,000, which is the actual, or the average assessment value of $298.41 per square foot, times the livable area of 1833.
Is there any more, or
No, that's you've read the report, you see the comparables. I don't want to waste too much time.
okay? Ms. Nichols, any questions for the applicant?
No questions. Thank you.
Ms. Verhan, any questions for the applicant?
I do not, thank you.
Mr. Carlin, any questions for the applicant?
The only question I have is, in your comparables, obviously you used the Southside Drive where it was the same as the assessors. Are all the other homes in the same neighborhood?
I noted 3 of the 7 are in what was unofficially called phase 3 of the Royalwood development. My house and the Shore Hill property, the Bridgeway property, the High Ridge property, and the Pambrun would all be in phase 1, closer to my home.
Okay.
And you'll see that in my submission that the 3 that are outside my nearest neighborhood are all built in 2005, 2006, 2008. They're slightly newer.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
What was the value requested again?
547.
547,000, and that was 298 a square foot?
Yeah.
Or 298.41.
Yeah.
So when you averaged out that column K there, did you simply average out those square foot numbers for each one?
Yeah, I asked the Excel spreadsheet to do an average of those. I didn't do a manual calculation.
Yeah, my math skills aren't great. I was just wondering if you took the total of the square foot numbers.
My math skills aren't great either. That's why I rely on technology.
Yeah, okay.
And I think if you look at the spreadsheet, you should, if it opens up in Excel, it should verify that for you.
That's not that important. No, I have no further questions. Ms. Nichols, is there anything in summation?
I would just say that the comparables that I brought today, I do feel support the value very well, especially considering comparables 1 and 2, which are in original condition and are close in living areas size to the subject property, and are both have a time adjusted sale price that is higher than the subject's 2025 assessed value. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Royale, anything in summation?
I feel my comparables accurately represent my position as well. If you look at 218 High Road, smaller square footage, and yet the time adjusted square foot's under $300 a square foot. So, you know, I think averaging them out seems to be a reasonable conclusion to use, considering the wide variances. I just want to thank the board for the time and thank the assessment officer for her time as well.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes this item, 52 wildfire. So you are free to leave, Mr. Royale. So then we carry on to item number 9, and is that applicant here?
Unfortunately, no, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we will also push item 9 to the back. Item number 10 is 794 John Bruce. Is that applicant present?
Correct, yes. I'll admit him right now. Hello, Mr. Berthelot, can you hear and see us okay?
You're muted.
Hello, yeah, I'm here. I can see and hear you.
Okay, then we can begin item number 10, 794 John Bruce. Is an application for revision of the amount of the assessment. Mr. Mohan, can you please swear in Mr. Berthelot?
Of course, Mr. Chair. Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Mitch Devin Berthelot.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Nichols, you may begin your presentation on this property.
Okay, thank you. So the subject property, it has roll number 060931014000, 794 John Bruce Road East. The subject property is in Royalwood. It is a one-story home built in 2017 with a living area of 1,853 square feet. Subject property has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size of the subject property is 8,610 square feet, and it does have a Seine River influence. The 2025 assessed value of the subject property is currently $834,000. So comparable number 1 is 38 Bridgetown Drive, also in Royalwood, also a one-story property built in 2006. Living area of 2,026 square feet. Full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size of comparable number 1 is 7,873 square feet, and comparable 1 also has the Seine River influence. Comparable number 1 sold in September 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $885,800. Comparable number 2 is 10 Bridgetown Drive, also in Royalwood, also a one-story built in 2008. Living area of 2,071 square feet, full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, and a lot size of 7,642 square feet. Comparable number 2 does have the Seine River influence, the same as the subject property, but it also has bus route, external corner, and medium traffic. Comparable number 2 sold in August of 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $898,700. Comparable number 3 is 18 Bridgetown Drive, again also in Royalwood, a one-story built in 2006, living area of 1,808 square feet. Comparable number 3 has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, and comparable number 3 also has an in-ground pool. The lot size of comparable number 3 is 8,652 square feet, and it does also have that Seine River influence. Comparable number 3 sold in April of 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $857,300. And finally, comparable number 4, 115 Wilmington Drive, also in Royalwood, also a one-story, built in 2005, 1,888 square feet of living area. Comparable 4 has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, lot size of 8,989 square feet. Comparable number 4 is the only comparable that does not have the Seine River influence. I was able to find, though, a comparable that had a park influence, which is another positive influence. And the comparable number 4 sold in August 2021 with a time adjusted sale price of $906,500. So looking at the comparable properties, all the comparable properties are actually older than the subject properties. The subject is the newest. Comparables 3 and 4 are pretty close in terms of living area. Comparables 1 and 2 are slightly larger than the subject property. In terms of the other characteristics, though, they're all pretty similar. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 all have that Seine River influence. And the time adjusted sale prices range from $857,300 up to $906,500. The subject property is currently assessed at $834,000, which is below any of the comparables that I was able to find that I brought today. And so I do think that the value is reasonable and is supported. Thank you.
Thank you. Nichols, Mr. Bertholet, do you have any questions for the assessor on her presentation?
Yes. My first question, I guess, is the 115 Wilmington Drive. I noticed it was added later because I've applied for an reassessment already, and my property was reduced by $45,000 to $834,000. When they reassessed that, 46 Water Lily was included in that, which doesn't belong there. I do agree, but it was I was taken by surprise that there was another comparable put in there in place, and I didn't get that information until I received the email of comparables from the City of Winnipeg. So that took me by surprise a little bit. So I'm just wondering why it was swapped out and why I wasn't contacted on something like that.
So when I was assigned to the appeal. I look for my own comparables just to find properties that I feel are as comparable as possible to the subject property. So I think, probably the first three remain the same because there's not all that many properties that have that Seine River influence. That's a pretty important aspect in the valuation of your property. And that last property, I just felt 115 Wilmington was a better comparison to your property. I'm not sure, I don't recall what the other property, I don't recall any details about the other property, so I can't really comment on that other comparable that had been used previously. But these are just the comparables that I felt were most similar to your property.
Okay, fair enough. The other questions I have are about land influences. It's not noted on here, but I do have a just watching previous people go through this. Some of the land influences were hydrobox. Now I don't have a hydrobox, but I do have a hydro pole right in front of my yard with overhead lines, as well as I'm right next to a public path, which brings upon us heavy traffic and heavy pedestrian traffic due to the public pathway. So do those two items influence your decision as well?
So the hydro pole is not something that we even track. So no, it's not something that would influence the assessed value of the property. If your property is next to a walkway, that is something that would have a positive influence. But you already have the Seine River influence, which is, again, a positive influence on your property. So I think, yeah, I mean, is your property right on a walkway or just kind of close by?
Right next door to it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something we have to look at adding to your property, but yeah, that would be something that would be a positive influence.
It's this Seine River walking path there. But just why isn't it that the hydro pole doesn't have any negative influences to this when do you consider a hydro box and a hydro pole the same?
So the hydro box is something, it's information about the property that we track, but it's not something that is actually in the model, in the computer model. It's not actually something that reduces the value or has a negative impact on the value of the property, just more information, just something that we track. There's a few influences that are like that.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Verhan, any questions for the assessor?
I do not, thank you.
Mr. Carlin, any questions for the assessor?
No questions, thank you.
Your assessment per square foot appears to be somewhat in the middle of the comparisons. Would that be a fair observation?
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Which comparison do you think is the closest to the subject?
I guess if I had to choose one, comparable number 3 would be the most comparable, just because it has similar living area and it has the Seine River influence as well. Although comparable number 4 doesn't have the Seine River influence, it is close in living area and it does have the park influence, which is another positive influence. So I guess those two are both good comparables, but I think comparable number 1 is also a good comparable, although it's a little bit larger. That is reflected in the sale price, which is higher than the subject assessment. But yeah, I think they're all pretty good comparables, actually.
So do you think the Seine River influence is a significant factor in the value of these properties?
I do think it's an important factor, yes.
Is that reflected in your comparisons?
It
Yeah.
is
Two,
3 out of
well, there's only one without, right?
only one. Only comparable 4 doesn't have the same river influence.
Yet it is the highest per square foot though. The
It
highest.
is. And it is in similar condition, or sorry, it is in a fairly, like it's not a super renovated property. But yeah, there's just a range in value. I think that's pretty normal.
So what is driving the value up of that property then?
For that particular property.
Yeah.
Um,
Doesn't have the river influence.
yeah, it has the park influence, which is a positive influence. It does have the largest lot size. But other than that, I'm not sure what specifically would be making that property a bit higher than some of the others.
Something that really jumps out at me here is that the subject property was built in 2017.
Yeah, that's right.
Subject sale, it says 2016 is only 201,500.
I would imagine that was a land only sale.
I could speak on that if you'd like. It was that was an empty lot there, and it was purchased for that price that you spoke about, 201,500.
Well, makes sense. I have no further questions. So now we can proceed with your presentation, Mr. Bertha.
Thank you. So I've submitted some paperwork here. I'm not as versed as speaking in front of the boards like this, so I'm going to read off my paper if you don't mind. So the reasons I don't agree with the comparable properties that the city used to assess my value has three of the four properties are located on Bridgetown Drive and one located on Wilmington Drive, which are the most sought after streets in Royalwood. All the homes on those streets are premium high-end custom homes with structural wood floor basements, and therefore the replacement cost of those types of structures are much higher than my property. For example, 10 Bridgerton Drive has wood structural floor, 3 full baths plus 2 half baths, premium high-end construction and finishes, and a substantial deck and landscaping. 38 Bridgetown Drive is a triple car garage, structural wood floor basement. 18 Bridgetown Drive is an incredible 250 to 300K swimming pool and structural wood floors. And 115 Wilmington Drive, which is, now you spoke about it earlier, is the reason probably why it's so high is a former custom home for a Hallmark home owner. It has premium high-end construction and finishes, structural wood floor basement, custom stonework, stamped driveway, triple car garage, covered porch, and a 4-season sunroom. It would appear that the city of Winnipeg applied the 4 most expensive sales over a 2-year period to estimate the value of my property. This market region value change reported by the city shows 13% change during the assessment time period. Yet for my property, it is 26%, which is double what the market region is reporting. Using the same time period, with the help of my realtor, I was able to find additional comparable sales, which were omitted from the city's examples, that in my opinion are more comparable to my property than those used by the city. A summary of the 8 comparable properties are located on the attached document provided, the comparative market analysis report. Based on this market analysis report that my realtor has provided, based on the average sale price per square foot for the comparable properties, he estimates the market value to be $699,704. And that could be found on page 2 of the analysis report. And that's all I have right now.
Thank you. Ms. Nichols, do you have questions on the applicant's presentation?
I do. So I'm just looking through the report from the Realtor that was submitted, and I'm noticing, I guess, first of all, that the first comparable, 59 North Port Bay, sold after the reference date. So I just ask that that still not be considered since it is post-reference. And then for the other sales that were submitted, I'm just wondering if any of those sale prices were time adjusted.
That I would have to clarify with the Realtor. I don't
Okay.
have that.
Okay. It looks like those are just original sale prices. Just the
Yeah,
actual sale price.
that's
Okay.
what it looks like to me.
Okay. So then I would assume that the value that the Realtor arrived at, the 699,704, would also be based on the that would be based on the non-time adjusted sale prices.
Most likely, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and then the other thing I just wanted to double check with you. I don't think I noticed this in your report. Have any renovations or upgrades been done to your home?
No, since it was built, the basement's finished and the garage has drywall on it. And other than that, you have everything correct on there. Multiple car garage, central air, one fireplace. Oh, I can comment on something. We had a kitchen flood, which we had to which swelled my flooring, which we had to replace the flooring
Okay, just in the kitchen.
Yeah, the main floor. So,
all of the main floor.
Yeah, but it's renovated with or replaced with like material, so it's same.
Okay. And what is the material that was used? What is the
It's
form?
engineered hardwood.
Okay. When was that done?
2000, probably 2020.
Okay. And what about what are the other finishings like in the home? Like kitchen counters,
Kitchen
cupboards?
counters are granite. Cupboards are the MDF with a maple front.
Okay. So it sounds like some higher end, or not
mean,
basic, not the basic finishings.
It's a modest
fair?
home. It's not what would you say? It's not a showroom quality or what do they call those? Like a show home
Like a show
quality.
home.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a little lower than that. I would say it's not like this 115 Wilmington Drive as you spoke on. Like I've seen that home and it's high end finishes. So again, I knew the former owner, which was the Hallmark homeowner, and that house was built custom for him. So when it's on there as a comparable, and you're comparing my property to that, it's nothing like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I mean, your property is also assessed quite a bit below that sale price, which was over 900,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I think that was all my questions. Thank you so much.
Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I believe that would be for the applicant. questions for the applicant?
Nope, I'm still good. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Mr. Applicant, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Not questions, but I just, there's one thing I forgot to mention. Like I'm a reasonable person, and I realize that my realtors provided the comparables, and he estimates the market value at 699.9 or 699,704. Now, I want to go back to the property percentage change. So my region was taxed at 13%. My home seemed to be significantly more than that. I would be more comfortable having my property assessed at the 13% that everywhere else is getting, which would bring my assessed value to 785, 350. Or around there, in and around there. And I just wanted to mention that before we finish up here. Like, I'm not expecting the lowest price like what my realtor provided here. I'm just looking for something in the middle. I think the comparables that you provided and I provided, I think we could find some middle ground there, and I would appreciate it if we can relook at it. And that's all I really have, and I just want to thank the board and the assessor for your time, for the time.
Yeah, we'll just, I'm going to kind of reverse here a little bit because I got things off track here, and I apologize for that.
That's okay.
So I'm gonna consider that you just finished your presentation right now, okay?
Yes.
And you've had, Ms. Nichols, you've had a chance to ask some questions already, correct?
Yes, I've asked all my questions.
You wish
Thank
to
you.
ask any more questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
And Mr. Carlin, you said you didn't have any questions, correct?
No, thank you.
Mr. Hun, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I do not, thank you.
So again, I'm just going to clarify, your original request was 699,704. And you say you're open to a number in the middle, something like $785,000.
Yeah, approximately around there. That's based on my calculations of my former assessed value was 695. So anywhere between, yeah, around 785 there is 13% higher.
Okay. Then I have no further questions. And is there anything in summation, Ms. Nichols?
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Ms. Bertholet, anything in summation?
No, thank you.
Okay, so this brings to conclusion this item number 10, 794 John Bruce, and you are free to go, Mr. Bertholet.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Okay, I need a break. 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, we are back. And now we are going to proceed to item 1136 Dalner. That is appeal on assessed value. Mr. Bohan, can you swear in the applicant, Mr. Zhao?
Of course. I'm sorry, Mr. Zhao, do you have a camera function at the moment?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll turn it on for you.
Oh, cheers. All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Yeah, my name is Haifeng Zhao.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Nichols, you can proceed with item 11, please.
Okay, thank you. The roll number for the subject property is 06-093-150900, 36 Dalner Bay. This subject property is located in Royalwood. It is a two-story home built in 2007, living area of 2,062 square feet. The subject property has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. Lot size is 6,727 square feet. And the subject property has two land influences, internal corner and shape. The current 2025 assessed value of the property is $558,000. And the subject property was purchased in June, or had registered, the sale was registered in June of 2020 for $465,000. Comparable number 1 is 58 Wilmington Drive, also located in Royalwood. This is also a two-story home built in 2001, living area of 2,292 square feet. Comparable number 1 has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size for comparable number 1 is 6,312 square feet. Comparable number 1 sold in December 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $575,800. Comparable number 2 is 155 Norcross Crescent, also in Royalwood. It is a two-story built in 2002, living area of 1,853 square feet. The comparable number 2 has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size for comparable number 2 is 6,492 square feet. Comparable 2 also has some land influences, bus route, external corner, and medium traffic. This property sold in September 2022, and the time adjusted sale price was $567,000. Comparable number 3 was 36 Yorkwood Drive, also in Royalwood, also a two-story, built in 2005, living area of 2,134 square feet. Comparable number 3 has a full basement, which is not finished, unlike the subject, which is finished. The comparable number 3 has air conditioning and a multiple attached garage. The assessed lot size is 7,547 square feet, and it has the same internal corner land influence as the subject property does. The comparable number 3 sold in June of 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $674,200. And finally, comparable number 4, 27 Breathen Bay, also in Royalwood. This property is a 1-2-story built in 2002, living area of 1,904 square feet. This property has a full basement, which is finished, central air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size of comparable number 4 is 6,312 square feet. And this comparable property sold in November of 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $568,200. So although there is some variation in the living area sizes of the comparable properties, the sale prices, the time adjusted sale prices of the comparable properties are all higher than the 2025 assessed value of the subject property. So the sale prices of the comparables range from $567,000 up to $674,200. Some of that variation will be based on the total living area of each comparable compared to the subject property. But I do feel that the 2025 assessed value of the subject property is supported by the comparable sales that I was able to find. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Mr. Zhao, do you have any questions on the assessor's presentation?
Not really. Yeah, I don't have any questions regarding the evidence they have there.
Okay. Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
Not this time.
Ms. Werhun, do you have any questions for the assessor?
None, thank you.
And I have no questions. Therefore, we can move to your presentation, Mr. Zhao.
Okay, I have a lot of listing here, two from Royalwood and quite a few from Iron Lakes, because I wasn't able to find a lot of similar sales in Royalwood, but I did find a few on Iron Lakes, which is our neighborhood very close by. Um, so I have two listed as in Royalwood. Number one, 151 Norcross Crescent. It's a two-story home, and it's building 1996. And the sale price is 465,000, and it adjusted sale price 517,000. Living area is 1800 square foot. Date was sold was in 2021 March. The second one is on the same street, 63 Donner Bay. That is 2005, built in 2008. Living area is 1,738 square foot. Date sold was in 2022 September, and sale price 490,000, and adjusted sale price is 467,000. So based on these two, they're all below $500,000 sale price in Royalwood neighborhood. And there are 1, 2, 3. There are 12 listings that I provided from Iron Lake, which is close by. Should I read all of them? Okay.
You can summarize,
Okay. Yeah.
or you
So
wanna just pick, the best
yeah,
one?
I'll take a few typical ones. Yeah, I'll take a few
I'm not
typical
gonna
ones here.
say you can't read them all. If you wanna read them all, you can read them all.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take a typical ones. I got 3 listings on Appetite Drive. I'll take one. For example, the similar data build and similar area. Okay, let's just say the first one here. 102 Appetite Drive in Iron Lake. Built year is 2005. Living area 1,963 square foot. Data sale is February 2022. Sale price only 415,000. Adjusted sale price is even lower, 405,000. So that's one on the same. Like I have 3 listings on the same street. This is a typical one. And then moving down, I have another one, which I think is very typical. 95 De La Salle Boulevard. It's a very it's over 2,022 square foot. Year built in 1988. The data sold is December 2022. Sale price it's only $490,000. Just the sale price of 478,200. That's over 2,000 square foot. See, there's another 3 properties that more than 2,000 square foot that listed the last 3. So 50 Galwing Bay, it's year built in 1993. Living area 2,057 square foot. Data sales 2022 December. Sale price is 486,500. Adjusted sale price is 470,900. The last one I want to mention is the new build. The year build is 2022. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yes, 2022. And the address is 55 Scalberg Lane. I'm not too sure how to say that properly. Pardon me. 55 Scalberg Lane. 2 stories, year built 2022. Living area is 2,043 square foot. It's a new build in Iron Lake. And data sold 2022 February. and the sale price only 459, 386. Adjusted sale price 448,000 and 400. So based on these, I think my property should be lower than what is estimated.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Nichols, do you have any questions on the applicant's presentation?
I do. So I'm just looking through the comparable properties that were provided. So maybe I'll just start with the most recent comparable that you mentioned, 55 Schulberg Lane. Was this property sold directly from the builder to a purchaser?
That I'm not too sure. I got this information from the marketing sale book. It doesn't say anything more than what I have listed. So
Oh, okay,
not,
okay. Because I'm
yeah,
just seeing that the year built is 2022 and the date
yeah,
sold is February of
yeah,
2022.
yeah.
So that tells me it's probably sold directly from the builder, probably didn't include any landscaping or curtains or maybe not even appliances, which I'm thinking is probably what's explaining that lower sale price there. Okay, and I'm just looking through some of the other sales. So I'm noticing that there are a few that are actually not the same type of property as your property. So 124 De La Seigneurie Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you notice that was a 4-level split, not a 2-story?
Yeah, it's a 4-level storage, but it's a comparable living area, it's like a 1900 square foot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
similar in living area, just a different type of property, which we
yeah,
do sometimes see different values for different types of properties.
okay.
Same with 26 Captain's Way, that's a cab over. 182 Uptide, that's also a cab over. And I know you had mentioned, but I just did notice that the bulk of the comparables that you're bringing today are in Island Lakes, which is a different area than Royalwood. I think kind of generally maybe a little less desirable. Would you agree?
I'm not a salesperson here, so I'm not really, expert on the market price here, but what I'm looking at is a comparable living area, similar dates, like a year built, and a size, and also, like you said, different type of properties. They're 2 storage, they're cap over, but I do have, a few 2 storage as example, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see those there. Okay, and then I'm just going to move on to the two from Royalwood. So again, 63 Dollar Bay is a cab over, not the same property type. So I think I'll just skip over that one, since I don't really consider that one to be that comparable to your property. But I will look at 151 Norcross Crescent, which is a 2-story. But I did notice that that one is built in 1996, whereas your property was built in 2007.
Okay.
So I guess there, I just wondering, like, do you think there would probably be a difference in the value of the property considering that it's 11 years older than your property?
Okay. Okay. But it's they might have some good improvements or upgrade or whatever they I'm not too sure, like they don't provide any pictures or anything. So but again, this one was also still priced under 500,000, right?
Yeah, it looks like, and the time adjusted sale price was 517,
Okay.
570,500.
Is that the final sale? Like the I mean the final price, like the adjusted price, is that I mean is it like sale price, the listing price, and then adjusted sale price is the actual
No, so the sale price is the actual sale price at the time of sale. So in March of 2021,
right?
or actually probably slightly before that, because that's the registered date, but this property sold for $465,000. The time
Okay.
adjusted sale price is basically bringing that sale price to what it would have sold for on April 1st, 2023.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, and then I think other than that, let me just double check here. Yeah, so from Your sale from the sale, like when your property was listed on MLS, when you purchased it in 2020, it looked like the house was in pretty original condition, not much in terms of renovations. Is that
No.
still the case, or have you done anything to the property
No,
since you
no, I
purchased?
haven't no, I haven't done anything.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That was all the questions I had.
Okay.
Ms. Werhan, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Yes, I'm just wondering what Mr. Applicant would feel would be a fair assessment on his home.
I would say about $500,000, you know, around that.
So you're, okay, 500. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you.
Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Oh, I also did notice that a lot of the comparables you highlighted were 10 plus years older builds, and just different neighborhood than your current home. Out of all those Island Lake comparables you've presented, which one do you think is the closest to your home?
Okay, let's see. Okay, there's the first one here is 102 Appetite Drive. Just give me a second. Let me confirm here. Yeah, yeah. So 102 Appetite Drive. Built year 2005, living area 1963. You know, it's all like same, like almost a little bit smaller. I can't say much smaller.
Okay, no, that's good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, did I have any questions here? I think all my questions have been asked and answered already. So that will complete the applicant presentation. Ms. Nichols, anything in summation?
Just in summation, I would say the comparables that I've brought today are all in the same area as the subject property. They're close in size to the subject property, and even the couple that are smaller than the subject property sold they're just very close in time adjusted sale price. And I do feel that the value of $558 is very well supported for this property. Thank you.
Mr. Zhao, anything in summation?
I say like the estimate value of my the current estimate value of 550, what was it? 558,000 is too much. Based on the evidence I provided, I say 500,000 is a fair, it's a fair market value. I mean, as should be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
And nothing further? Okay, then that will complete item number 11, 36 Dahlner. And Mr. Zhao, you are free to leave. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
So we will proceed then to item number 12, 174 Orchard Hill. Is the applicant available, Mr. Mohan?
Unfortunately, no, Mr. Chair.
Okay, therefore, we will push item 12 to the back. And we will proceed to item 13, 116 Waterfront. And is Ms. Klassen waiting?
Yep, I am admitting her at the moment. Okay, hello, Ms. Clausen, can you hear and see us okay? She was at the beginning, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Hello.
I think I was streaming the wrong thing. Thought you're on number 6. I was like, oh, we're never gonna get to mine.
Oh,
Okay, good.
perfect. And do you by chance have video function? I think you did last I
I
saw.
thought I had it on. I'll turn it back on.
Perfect, thank you.
Good.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Okay, we will then proceed to item number 13, 116 waterfront, an application on the revision of the assessed value. So, Mr. Mohan, can you please swear in Ms. Clausen?
Of course, Mr. Chair. Ms. Applicant, please state your full name.
Tracy Dawn Clausen.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Nichols, you may proceed with your presentation, please.
Okay, thank you. So the roll number for the subject property is 06002933800116 Waterfront Road. This property is located in Island Lakes. It is a 2-story home built in 1992. Living area of 1,711 square feet. This property has a full basement, which is finished, central air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size of the subject property is 6,206 square feet. And the subject property has 2 land influences, hydro transformer box, and internal corner. The current 2025 assessed value for the subject property is $476,000. Comparable number 1 is 31 Pioneer Place, also located in Island Lakes. It is a 2-story built in 1988, so a little bit older than the subject property. Living area of 1,713 square feet, so very close in size to the subject. Comparable number 1 also has a full basement, which is finished, same as the subject property. It does have air conditioning and a multiple attached garage. Lot size is 4,604 square feet. And comparable number 1 sold in July of 2022 for a time adjusted sale price of $454,900. Comparable number 2 is 138 Charbonneau Crescent, also located in Island Lakes, same as the subject property. It's a 2-story built in 1985, so again, a little bit older than the subject property. Living area of 1,654 square feet, so it is a little bit smaller than the subject property as well. Comparable number 2 has a full basement, which is finished, same as the subject, air conditioning, multiple attached garage, lot size of 7,599 square feet. This property has a couple of land influences. It has heavy traffic, hydro transformer box, and rail line. The comparable number 2 sold in August of 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $564,900. Comparable number 3 is 220 De La Seigneurie Boulevard, again located in Island Lakes. The 2-story home built in 1990, living area of 1,720 square feet. This property has a full basement, which we originally had listed as not finished, but actually at the time of sale, the basement was finished. So I just made note of that here on the sheet. Also has central air conditioning, a multiple attached garage, lot size of 5,049 square feet, 2 influences, bus route, and medium traffic. And comparable number 3 sold in November 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $450,100. And finally, comparable number 4, 60 Père Oblat Drive, 2-story built in 1987, 1,728 square feet, full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a built-in attached garage. The lot size for comparable number 4 is 7,424 square feet, and this comparable has a hydro transformer box influence. Comparable number 4 sold in October of 2022 with a time adjusted sale price of $475,700. So looking at the range in sale prices for the comparable properties, ranging from $450,100 up to $475,700. I do believe that the subject property at $476,000 is within range of the subject, of the comparable sales, and that the value is supported. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clausen, do you have any questions on the assessor's presentation?
Nope, I do not.
Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions on the assessor's presentation?
No, thank you.
Ms. Werhun, do you have any questions?
I do not, thank you.
And I do not. Therefore, we then can proceed with your presentation, Ms. Clausen.
Yep, it's pretty short and sweet, I think. Basically, I moved in 2019. I believe it's 2019 or 2020 now. I'm confused, but I paid $365,000 for the property, and I believe at the time it was assessed at $399,000. You can correct me if I'm wrong on any of these. But I since had the assessed value lowered to 365, as that is what I paid. And the reason that I paid less than market value at that time was because there was significant work that needed to be done to the property. A lot of everything on this house and inside this house is original from when it was built in the 90s. And not much has changed since then. So it seems that the benchmark has always been moved to what is comparable at that time, but I've always had to have it bumped back because there hasn't been much done except for some flooring, to be honest, inside the house. And in fact, because of the lack of work, the problems with the home has compounded over time. Now I have some water damage that I'm having to deal with, and there are pictures, as you can see in my Word document there. There's stucco, we believe, that is being infiltrated with water, potentially some flashing issues with the house. So they have to actually go in and see. I don't know, I don't have an estimate for repairs. They have to start ripping away at an exterior wall and see where the water's coming from. But essentially it's all along the wall, the exterior wall in my kitchen. So underneath cabinets and like a double sliding door. There are other concerns, eaves troughs, soffit fascia. It's not just a cosmetic thing. It's not just an updating thing. It's actually causing damage to the home. So for those reasons, I think that the benchmark needs to be moved back to where it was, or even beyond that, because the issues are compounding over time. Also, I don't know about the air conditioning thing. I actually I have an air conditioner, a central AC, but it does not work. I'm not sure if that's something that we have window air conditioners in our bedrooms, and that's how we cool our house. The basement is also not fully finished. It's partially finished, and that's all original as well.
Anything further?
Sorry?
Anything further? Ms. Clausen?
Nope, I don't think so.
Okay, Ms. Nichols, do you have any questions for the applicant on her presentation?
I do. I just looking at the two sales that were provided. It looks like both of those sales occurred after the reference date. Is that right? After April 1st, 2023?
Are you talking about the one provided by the realtor, the market analysis?
The two, yeah. So there was 137 Camarant Crescent and 60 Perroblat Drive. Looks like they were both more recent sales.
that could be, yeah. So they would be even higher, right?
Possibly, we don't use sales that happen after the reference date. Those sales will be used for the next reassessment, which I know is really far into the future. That'll be for 2027. So for 2025, we're only using sales that occurred before the reference date of April 1st, 2023.
Okay, I think when the realtor asked for the reference date and I gave April 1st, 2023, so she probably tried to find things like very close to that date in particular. This is my first time doing this, so sorry if I may be missing.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Okay, you mentioned that there were some issues with the home. Are you planning to have, like, you mentioned that some of the issues are causing damage inside the home. I'm assuming you're planning to have that repaired and...
That is the plan. I've only discovered the moisture stuff in the spring when I ripped out the flooring. So I was planning on replacing the flooring. I've replaced some of the flooring inside the house. And then when I went to do the kitchen, I ripped out all the floor and there was water in between like the two. There was like an old, there were two, or an older layer of floor and a newer layer, and there was water in between the floor and then along that wall. So since then, I've had numerous contractors in my home, and yes, the plan is to get it done, but nobody can tell me where the water's coming from, and like it's kind of been like a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So yeah, trying to decide what to do and who to go with,
right,
this kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. And so when are you hoping or kind of planning to have those issues dealt with?
Honestly, hopefully before the snow flies, but even once it's dealt with, I need to make sure that the fix works. So I'm still going to be living on subfloor for another year or more to make sure that water doesn't come in, because there's no way that I'm putting new floor on top of like in that kitchen until I'm sure that the mold and the everything is not going to come back. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a long-term like watch and wait and see kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you mentioned that the flooring has been ripped up in the kitchen. And where else was the flooring replaced? Did you say the whole main floor?
No, not the whole main floor. There's just like a dining room on the main floor that it's been replaced in. And then it's been replaced almost fully in the upstairs. But it has to be taken out again, to be honest, in some of the rooms. But yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think that covered all of my questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Ms. Verhan, any questions for the applicant?
With all the stuff that has to be repaired and has been repaired, what was the estimated cost? Like, what do you think your final cost is going to be?
For the water damage repair, so until they actually open up that exterior wall, so they have to cut into the stucco, then they have to trace back the water damage. Hopefully they can find the source of it. But the estimate could be like in the tens of thousands of dollars, depending on how much damage is there. If it starts, for example, at like the second story window or something like that, they've already said that the flashing was not installed properly along that patio door, like around it. It was insulated, like spray foamed and sealed from the inside. You can see that, but the vapor barrier, they just sort of punch a hole in it. And they assume, because I have other windows that are marked 2018, that any window that was replaced at the same time as that door, it was not installed properly as well. So it could very well be occurring at another level of my home. And there is no real estimate until they open it up. So just to start, it's going to be $5,000 just to carve out around that door. And then depending on how far the damage is, sky's the limit, I guess.
So
yeah.
you've got nothing in writing from any contractor?
No, just verbally, I've been told like they have to open it up and see. Yeah.
Okay, and you said you had mold?
Yeah, in the kitchen, you can see black along the floor because I could literally put my hand through the subfloor of the kitchen.
So that hasn't been addressed yet?
Nope.
Have you gotten a reading of, I just lost my train of thought, excuse me.
That's okay.
Have you ever had that mold checked, like for what the reading would be so that it's, I'm thinking health-wise for your family?
I have not got it checked, no. Maybe I should have.
Yeah, I think that would be your next step, but yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mr. Carlin, any questions for the applicant?
So, based on the assessor's presented comparables, your ask for a reduction is primarily based just on condition of the home, right?
Yeah, like honestly, even without the mold and the water issue, the home is in almost the very same state as it was when I purchased it. And even at that time, the assessment was lowered. So even with barring, that issue, I still believe that the assessed value should be lower than
Okay.
comparables. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, you've been talking about a photo of the damage. I can't find that on your presentation here unless I don't have the updated information.
I put pictures into a Word document. So the Word document called moisture issues, you'll see pictures inside that.
Can you help me out? I cannot
I
find it on
can
here.
look, and this will be under your prior secretary's jurisdiction. I'll take a look, see what I can find.
I also did not receive any photos.
Did you receive a Word document? I think
No.
because of the photos, the file was really large, and so they had to give you a link, and I had to share the link with you. I wonder if I can share on Zoom my screen if you wanted.
Val, it sounds like you have it though, right? Didn't you?
No, I don't. That's the puzzled look on my face.
Okay, so no, none of us have it, then, right?
Trying to share my screen.
And the only photos I have are in that comparative market analysis from the realtor.
Can you see my screen?
Yes. You can
Oh.
see it.
Yes.
Maybe I can.
That's actually the best I've ever seen.
So you didn't get any of this then?
Yeah, we got that, yeah.
You did get this, just not the pictures.
Not the picture, no.
Oh, okay.
No.
Weird. Okay.
Not of the damage. The pictures of the damage is what I'm interested in here mostly.
Okay. Wonder if I can also zoom in a bit here too. So there's damage here, but the damage goes, can you see my cursor on the screen?
No, we're still seeing your
Okay,
one
well,
page there.
the damage goes beyond that door underneath that cabinet. You can see there's a water line there. So there's dishwasher.
Yeah, we can't see anything.
Yeah, we don't have any pictures up.
Oh, you see the comparative market analysis. Hang on.
That's all we
Yes.
see, yeah.
How about now? Technology.
Nope.
No?
Yes,
there we go.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
We're
So
seeing,
there's this
patio doors here, yep.
patio door off my kitchen.
Yeah.
So you can see water here. When it rains, you can see water coming in here on this side. Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Scrolling around. Okay. And then it runs along the base here. You can see rotten wood all underneath this door. And then over here, in my next picture, you'll see there's a hole there. I could put my hand right through there when I took the floor out. It runs beyond into the cabinet area. So about 2 feet into the cabinet area, there's also water there. Here's a hole that I just like easily punched through my floor because it was just waterlogged. And then they think, so you see that little cat door there? You can see it up in over here on this side. I don't know how good you are at spatial relationships here, but so all along this corner here, they think like stucco should not be black, apparently. So it's black along here and it's black along here. They think that the water damage is extending out into this cantilevered part of my house over here. that it starts over by this cantilever, somewhere in this corner that needs some kind of a flashing, a kick out flashing in this corner. And extends down the wall. There's a close-up of that. There's also problems with the stucco in my garage. You can see water coming in here too. I don't know if it's just the stucco or what. Stucco is meant to be porous, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I also have water damage on my garage wall. And there's stucco on the exterior of that. And then I also do have, so right above that patio door, I do have eavesdropping that's pulling away from the house, and that's on other parts of my house as well. The fascia board needs to be replaced. Everything, the soffit fascia, etc., all needs to be redone. Oh, there's our window air conditioners. So we don't have an air conditioner. Here's some more rot on the fascia board. There's also a hole behind here that you can't see in the stucco. So I need a lot of stucco repair. And then here you can see the flashing actually under there. So if this rot goes any further, or if it's been saturated with water, there could be more water damage there. Shingles are lifting, you can see that there as well. So those were my pictures.
Well, thank you for showing us those.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, I think I'm going to redo the cycle here again based on this evidence that we didn't have before. So Ms. Nichols, you can ask questions based on those pictures if you would like. Ms. Nichols, are you still with us?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Burhan, any questions on that evidence?
I do not, thank you.
Mr. Cartwright, any questions on it?
No questions, but thanks for showing that because that was not in our original paperwork.
And I have no questions. Anything in summation, Ms. Nichols?
I think you're muted right now, Ms. Nichols.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, no, I have nothing. Thank you.
Ms. Klassen, anything in summation?
No, I mean, I could just reiterate what I've said. Even barring the water damage, I don't think that my house should be assessed at a comparable value, as there has not been a lot of updating since it was built in the 90s when I bought it and to present date. And that is all. Thank you.
Okay. That then concludes this item, number 13, 116 Waterfront. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Klassen. You may go.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to your first item that was pushed, which was item number 1, 6 Pembridge Bay. I take it there still is no applicant for that
No
one?
applicant present, and which would require an in-camera discussion.
Yes. So we are going to have to go in camera for all of these properties where there is no applicant, one at a time, okay? So we are gonna go in camera, which we can do now.
Of course, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we are back live. The board has deliberated on item 1, 6 Pembridge Bay, and we have decided that we will hear this property in the absence of the applicant. So Ms. Nichols, if you would please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Subject property has roll number 080062065000, 6 Pembridge Bay. This property is located in Meadowwood. It is a bi-level, built in 1972, living area of 720 square feet. This property has a full basement, which is finished, no air conditioning, and no detached, no garages or other structures. The assessed lot size for the subject property is 5,299 square feet, and the current 2025 assessed value is $342,000. The comparables that I have brought today are mostly in the same area, except for comparable number 2, which is in an adjacent neighborhood, River Park South. All the comparable properties are bi-levels. The comparable properties are actually mostly built in 1973, again, except for comparable number 2, which was built in 1985. The living areas of all the comparable properties are pretty close to the subject at 733 or 734 square feet. Again, except for comparable number 2, which is smaller at 696 square feet. All the comparable properties have full basements, which are finished. Looks like the comparable properties all have air conditioning. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 do not have any garages, and comparable number 4 has a single detached garage. The comparable properties, for the most part, have lot sizes of 5,298 square feet, except for comparable number 2, which has a smaller lot, 3,612 square feet, and comparable number 2 also has a negative land influence of a commercial adjacent. The time adjusted sale prices for the comparable properties range from $307,800 for comparable number 2, which again is smaller with a smaller lot size and a negative land influence, up to $384,600. So I do feel that the assessed value of the subject property at $342,000 is supported in consideration of the comparable properties. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Ms. Werhun, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do not, thank you.
And I do not have any questions. So this will conclude item number 1, 6 Pembridge Bay. Next item then would be item 4, 203 Ashworth. That is a application or appeal on value of assessment. There is no applicant available for this property. Therefore, we will go in camera to decide on hearing this property. Okay, we are back. The board has deliberated on item number 4, 203 Ashworth. And we have decided that we will hear this property in the absence of the applicant. So Ms. Nichols, could you please proceed with your presentation?
Yes, thank you. The subject property roll number is 0800672700, 203 Ashworth Street. This property is located in the area of Meadowwood. It is a one-story home built in 1976 with a living area of 960 square feet. The subject property has a full basement, which is finished, air conditioning, and a multiple detached garage. The lot size for the subject property is 5,593 square feet, and the subject property does have a couple of land influences. It has bus route, light traffic, and park. The current 2025 assessed value for the subject property is $385,000. The comparable properties that I have brought today, again, are mostly in the same area as the subject property. Most of them are in Meadowwood, except for comparable number 2, which is in Vista, an adjacent neighborhood. All the comparable properties are one-story homes built in the 1970s, very similar to the subject property. The living areas of the comparable properties range from 957 square feet up to 1,040 square feet, so all very close in size to the subject property. All the comparables have full basements, which are finished. All have air conditioning, same as the subject, and all have multiple detached garages, same as the subject property. The lot sizes for the comparable properties are pretty close to the subject, ranging from 5,134 up to 6,091 square feet. The subject property has a park influence. Only comparable number 1 has a park influence. The other comparable properties do not have park influence, which would be a positive influence on the value of the property. And the time adjusted sale prices of the comparable properties range from 354,500 up to 404,200. So I do think that the assessed value of 385,000 for the subject property is well supported by the comparables. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Ms. Verhan, any questions for the assessor?
None at this time, thank you.
Mr. Carlin, any questions for the assessor?
No, thank you.
And I have no questions. Therefore, this concludes item number 4, 203 Ashworth. We will proceed then to item number 9, 28 Boardroom. Appeal on value of assessment. The applicant, Mr. Lim, is not present. So we will go in camera to decide to hear on this property. Okay, we have returned from our deliberations on item number 9, 28 Boundary to here, and board has decided to hear this property. So Ms. Nichols, can you please proceed with your presentation?
Yes, thank you. Roll number for the subject property is 060050700200, 28 Beaudry Bay. This property is located in Royalwood. It is a one-story home built in 1998, 1,884 square feet of living area. It has a full basement, which is finished, central air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size of the subject property is 10,924 square feet, and it does have a walkway influence. The current 2025 assessed value for this property is $675,000. Excuse me. All of the comparable sales that I brought today are also in Royalwood. They are all one-story properties, all built in the early 2000s. Living areas ranging from 1,804 square feet up to 1,884 square feet, which is the same living area as the subject property. All have full basements, which are finished, all have air conditioning, all have multiple attached garages. The lot sizes for the comparable properties range from 5,902 square feet, which is quite a bit smaller than the subject property, up to 10,259 square feet. Comparable number 3 is the only one that has the walkway influence, same as the subject property. The comparable properties range in sale prices from $608,200 up to $654,900. So I am putting in a recommendation to reduce the value of this property to $625,000. I had spoken with the owner and he had agreed to this value. We just had some issues. It seemed like we were having some issues with email communication. Emails that were being sent were going to his junk mail. So I'm not sure if that might be the reason why we didn't get the signed 15 back, but I'm putting in the same recommendation anyway.
Hey, Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions on the assessor's presentation?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Ms. Werhan, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do not, thank you.
And I have no questions. So this brings the matter of item number 9, 28 Beaudry to a conclusion. And we will proceed. Outstanding items, which the next one is item number 12. Item number 12, 174 Orchard Hill, an appeal on assessed value. The applicant is not present. Therefore, we will go in camera to decide if we will hear this property. Okay, we are back. The board has decided we will hear item number 12, 174 Orchard Hill. So, Ms. Nichols, can you please proceed with your presentation?
Okay, yes, thank you. So the subject roll number is 0600505220. Address is 174 Orchard Hill Drive. This property is located in the neighborhood of Royalwood. It is a one-story home built in 1997, living area of 1,781 square feet, has a full basement, which is not finished, air conditioning, and a multiple attached garage. The lot size of the subject property is 8,332 square feet, and it does have a park land influence. The 2025 assessed value of the subject property is currently $599,000. The comparables that I have brought today are all in Royalwood, same as the subject property. They are all one-story homes, all built in the early 2000s. Comparable number 4 would be the newest, built in 2008. The living areas range from 1,748 square feet up to 1,978 square feet. All the comparable properties have full basements. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 have finished basements. Comparable 4 does not have a finished basement. All have multiple attached garages, all have air conditioning. The lot sizes of the comparable properties range from 6,312 square feet up to 9,723 square feet. The only 2 comparables that have the park influence are comparables 1 and 4. So comparables 2 and 3 do not have that influence. And the time adjusted sale prices range from $628,800 up to $639,900. So being that the subject property has an assessed value that is lower than any of the comparables that I brought today, I do feel that the assessed value of the subject is supported by the comparables. Thank you.
Ms. Verhunt, do you have any questions for the assessor?
I do not, thank you.
Mr. Carlin, do you have any questions for the assessor?
No, thank you.
And I have no questions. Therefore, we are concluding with item number 12, 174 Orchard Hill. So are there any items today on the docket that are outstanding, have not been heard?
In terms of my logs here, Mr. Chair, I see nothing that's not accounted for.
Okay. Therefore, we have heard all the items scheduled and this hearing is now adjourned.